Get that?
Do we start?
You got that too?
Action.
Okay.
Alright, okay. Hi everyone. This is Janina and Arnold and Jeremiah reporting live from Arnold's Way, and we have the most inspirational video of our time coming at you right now with Jeremiah and the hemp. Take it away.
I didn't say anything.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So today's video is going to be about the uses and history of industrial hemp. So industrial hemp was this nation's first staple crop. It was cultivated by the Native Americans on this land for thousands of years. The Native Americans used it for everything from clothing, to different textile usages to home use, and even to cultivating for food purposes. Okay, so the first part we'll start with really is hemp for car use as your car fuel, because I really think that's the central issue. Obviously everyone talks about the environmental damage due to the burning of carbon and fossil fuel emissions, and that's certainly important. But the biggest thing for me is how all this fossil fuel oil is obtained. Okay, so a lot of times foreign wars are fought just for one large reason being to obtain the oil from that region, and this is what we've seen all across the world, in the Middle East. Okay, so a lot of innocent lives are being lost overseas. A lot of wars are being fought for this oil that is completely unnecessary, and truthfully, a bunch of very small oil cartels are really controlling the world's oil supply, and then supplying the entire world with oil, and then eliminating free energy technology like Tesla technology, etc., etc. Most people haven't even heard of it. Okay, so a little known fact is that one of Henry Ford's first models actually ran on hemp fuel. It had hemp back seats. Some of the windshield glass was made of hemp. So hemp was utilized in all different types of facets of not only the car's interior, but also mainly, my main point is in the fuel itself. Now, hemp fuel is a completely clean fuel. It's the only ethanol-based fuel that has absolutely no negative outputs, meaning like a corn ethanol is not completely environmental friendly, where hemp is the rare exception where it's toxin and pollutant free. So
I'm just going along with what you're saying.
Yeah, so toxin and pollution free is incredible, because hemp also grows like a weed, so you could fuel the entire world's automobiles for basically next to nothing, and that's pretty incredible. As here,
Do other countries have hemp oil?
No, it's the
Well,
oil.
it's now produced in the United States. How come other countries still?
Well, right now China,
Like Canada?
Well, Canada produces it for food only, for food purposes.
only.
All these foods come from Canada.
Why do you think that is? How come they're using it for fuel?
Well, that's a huge thing.
That's a huge thing.
It's like what the oil cartels let you
With
do.
the oil
pretty much.
cartels.
It's all coming together.
So the number one global manufacturer of hemp is actually China, and they're the number one global manufacturer just about everything these days.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. So
They don't need us anymore.
yeah, that's right. So hemp. So that's hemp fuel. It's no conspiracy, folks. You can look and see that easily you can fuel your cars from hemp, which a lot of people think that free energy technology isn't even out there. So that's certainly a huge one. Since we're on the topic, we'll get right into hemp foods. And first let me just explain what hemp is real fast, in case people don't really understand. So hemp is an industrial plant, and it can be cultivated for various different uses. You can cultivate it for its textile use. You can cultivate it for like clothing, or for hemp oils or hemp seeds, like the plant foods.
Wait, isn't it a weed?
You could say it's a weed. It grows like a weed.
It grows like a weed. So
Yeah.
it goes from start to finish in
Yeah, it's
3 weeks?
It grows from start to finish in about 2 months.
2 months. Wow.
Yeah. It's rich in pulp, rich in fiber and seeds, and the pulp, fiber, and seeds, everything is completely usable.
Wow.
Okay, so this is an example of how you use hemp for food. These are the hemp seeds that come from the industrial hemp plant, and these are utilized for human food. These are an incredible food to balance your omega ratio. Great for all vegans, but anyone They're very high in omega-6, so it really balances the brain out. A lot of vegan foods are either omega-3 or high in omega-9s, which is the opposite ends of the pole. So when you consume something that's really high in omega-6s, it balances your omega range. So that's why hemp and flax are really good. The other thing that is incredible about hemp protein is that it's a full entire chain of all 16 essential amino acids. So it's great for vegan athletes who are working out a lot, and you get those aches and pains after working out, and you want to rebuild muscle. Basically, a lot of times, if you get that ache that doesn't seem to go away, it's because you're deficient in a certain amino acid. So by supplementing or adding hemp protein to your diet, because I wouldn't even call this a supplement, this is a food. By adding this food to your diet, you get all the whatever essential amino acid that you might be missing, and you add that, and then it repairs your muscle network. Okay, so that's hemp food. We touched on hemp fuel. Next, we'll get into hemp clothing. Hemp clothing's important.
One second. Why are you so interested in hemp?
I'm so interested in hemp because it is literally one of the number one solutions to save in every crisis we face in the world.
Fuel, food,
and we're going to touch on the other ones right now. But yeah, we're talking for my biggest thing, ending foreign war, ending millions of deaths a year in bloodshed, just so an oil cartel can basically manipulate and control us all.
You hear that, Iraq? We made a mistake.
Yeah, Iraq, Iran. I mean, we could just go on and on about Sudan, Syria. I mean, all these different.
And all this
oil
fracking
countries.
being done.
Well, yeah, that's certainly
another big issue.
And then of course you have everything going on with nuclear energy and Fukushima, everything that's happening.
We didn't say that.
And we see that obviously nuclear energy isn't that clean at all.
It isn't that clean. In fact, it's almost dangerous.
Almost dangerous.
It is dangerous. Pacific Ocean
depleted uranium is the most. Yeah. It's going to make us sorry soon.
And California.
So yeah. So. So we'll touch on the other areas we just mentioned, but that's why it's so important, because the answer to saving the rainforest, which is so important, an answer to slimming down mass agriculture, which is another thing that's destroying the land, an answer to our dependence on foreign oil, a great plant-based protein, and we'll cover all these. So it's truly,
and actually, it can be grown anywhere.
Yes,
in most countries out there start growing it. They don't need any country to just help them.
Yeah, this can be grown in all over North America, all over India,
China,
all over China. Yeah, so it certainly can be grown in most regions in the world.
Venezuela.
And the funny thing about it is the United States is really like the prime place to grow it. Right. States like Indiana and Kentucky. This was the backbone of this country period. Hemp was the United States' first staple crop. The forefathers all grew hemp. It was very common back in the day in the 1700s to wear all hemp clothes, and hemp clothes is what we're going to get into right now, because most people are wearing genetically modified cotton as their clothing source. And you'll see that not only hemp foods are much more durable, hemp clothes are much more durable quality, but and they last way longer, but they're also much more comfortable. And like, a pair of hemp pants could last you pretty much your whole lifetime. Wow. I mean, people don't realize that a lot of, that cotton just goes and goes and goes. And now cotton's actually genetically modified. So it's not just cotton, but it's GMO cotton. So that's another big reason to support hemp farmers and buy hemp clothing. You'll see, you can go to, my friend out in Santa Cruz is a great website. He'll send hemp clothes to you. It's Dash Hemp. Search Dash Hemp, and that's someone who's got some great hemp clothes. Okay. And hemp shoes is another huge one.
Yes.
We can talk about also hemp being the strongest plant.
Cars.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, it's the strongest plant, or really the strongest industrial fiber of anything on the planet. Hemp is stronger than concrete. This really blows people's mind. Hemp is stronger than concrete. You actually can make hempcrete. You can search that. Yeah, wow. Hempcrete. Wow. Yeah, and the United States Navy, under the radar, has been using hemp the entire time it's been illegal to United States citizens. The United States Navy's been using hemp for their hemp ropes because they want the highest quality, and nothing can compare to hemp.
So it's illegal here?
Yes. Yep.
Unless you're in the Navy.
Industrial hemp is completely illegal, which will take us to our next point as to why, from being our nation's first staple crop, why. So you're going to go back to about 1927 to 1929 with the assault teamed up between William Gandolf Hearst, who's a newspaper tycoon. He had his own newspaper.
Actually, you remember the Maine.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. And
started Spanish Civil War.
Yeah, exactly. So he was also a propagandist, and this is also where, like you said, he starts wars. He also started this whole demonization of hemp through the newspaper, because what he wanted to do was he wanted to process his newspaper on wood pulp. And he was starting the wood pulp industry. So anyone who would agree to get their paper processed out of wood pulp, he would profit off of all that, off of all paper. So what he wanted to do is make industrial hemp illegal. So what he's saying is, instead of having this weed that grows like crazy and just infinite, he's going to start chopping down all the trees. And now we see all over the planet, how destructive that really is. A couple hundred years ago, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. Okay, so that's Gandalf Hearst, and then Gandalf Hearst teamed up with DuPont. And the reason why DuPont is a gigantic family in the textile industry, and very similar. Hemp is a completely renewable resource. It's very earth friendly. It's completely renewable, completely sustainable. So it's hard to profit off of because it grows like a weed. It's very cheap. So they wanted to make their usage is a little more intricate, so higher profit margins, et cetera, et cetera. So DuPont teamed up. He wanted hemp eliminated so they could start using all different types of materials for textiles that have higher profit margins than hemp. So they teamed up. They put out all this propaganda. They actually attacked the hemp plant through what is hemp flower. And hemp flower is also referred to cannabis or marijuana, and they started to demonize that in a documentary called Reefer Madness, and as the devil's drug. And they put out all this information on that, and said that it's very dangerous, and that all these Mexicans are trafficking it into the country. And so because these two plants are interrelated, then hemp was also made illegal, because there's really no way you could make hemp illegal. It's like, what's this? It's like, so that's the disinformation campaign they came up with, and it truly was extremely effective. Job well done by those tycoons. Okay, so that gets us to the next thing, where let's just discuss hemp paper. So hemp paper is completely renewable. It's completely sustainable. It's very cheap. And of course, now we see all these epidemics of, like, if you go up in Northern California, Southern Oregon, Washington, it makes me absolutely sick. It's like my favorite places in the country to travel through, and all you just see is cutting the redwoods, cutting this, cutting that, all for cutting these trees, which a lot of people, like the Native Americans, would say that that's our ancestors, that these trees have been here a lot longer than everybody else. Some of these like coastal redwoods for 10,000 years. So just cutting them for paper. So and that's completely destructive to the entire environment. People think, oh, you cut down a tree. Well, then humans and the whole carbon cycle and all mammals are dependent on trees for the air, and the trees are dependent on us. So it's a codependent relationship. So that's an attack on ourselves as well, and it's an attack on the whole ecology of the forest, because once you start chopping trees, you're destroying the whole undergrowth, the whole underbelly of the forest, and the whole fauna. So you're really starting to you're going to promote a whole declination in speciation, and total drop, like I said, in fauna, undergrowth, everything. So it really it really starts to destroy the forest, which now you just see completely has just taken off with absolute environmental destruction. Okay, so
we got part 2 next time.
Okay, yeah. So maybe we'll do a part 2 next time.
Actually, you give a lecture here.
Yeah, and it's probably a topic I touch on a lot.
We should do a hemp
special.
Hemp special.
Yeah, we always have hemp whips too here if you ever want to stop in.
You know what? If you're watching this film, stop in and we'll give you a half price of any hemp whip.
Yeah, just mention
his name. Jeremiah. And if you get her name, mention Janina.
Yeah.
If you get Janina, then mention my name.
Yeah, and so
this is good for 1 month.
So the reason we're putting this out is this is a we're gonna probably
I need
have a part 2 soon, but this is a great plant-based protein for vegans. It's great for all the people that says, oh, I want protein. We'll go to this, save some animals, help save the environment, get hemp clothes, get hemp paper. We can start to fight for the legalization of industrial hemp, so we don't have to have such a dependence on
some
foreign
states
oil.
are trying to do that right now.
Yes, a lot of states are trying to do it. I'm definitely an activist in this topic, and it's happening on a state basis right now. Obviously, a lot of corporations are fighting it, so we're definitely going to need a strong movement by the people. And Kentucky is certainly a big state right now, but even Pennsylvania is a state. Like we have hemp, we have like a hemp field, Pennsylvania too. By the way, it's a town called Hemp,
Really?
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is also a gigantic hemp state. This whole region. So this is a great way to save ourselves and really truly save the planet, and then save all the other innocent beings that are being affected by us, not using a clean, alternative, sustainable energy source.
It's very good.
So
I'm very impressed by you.
from Arnold's Way.
Yeah, from Arnold's Way.
Bye.